So what's your story? It's the question that we ask ourselves this week, asking what will be the story that is told about our life? Praying that one day when we're gone, the stories will be told about us. That one day we said yes to Jesus, and we never stop saying yes to him for the rest of our life. And that's the way that we enter into his glory. That's the way that we finally are victorious. This week we look at the lives of several of the saints. Saints whose lives were defined by the way that they reacted to suffering, by the way that they persevered through difficult times. And today we talk about Saint Louis Marie de Montfort. De Montfort was a priest in the 17th century in France. What was going on in France was something called the Jansenist heresy. And this heresy was one that focused more on sin than on God's mercy. Basically, it said because of our original sin, we are so unworthy of God. And because of our ongoing sin in our life, we are so unworthy to approach him, so we shouldn't. We shouldn't approach him. We shouldn't frequent the sacraments. And people were stepping away from their faith in this rigorous mentality, giving in to the temptation of Satan, which is always to look at our sin, to be shamed of ourselves and who we are, and not trust in the mercy of God. De Montfort started to preach against this heresy, which was very unpopular. He was mocked. He was oppressed by even his brother priest, by his diocese. He was kicked out of churches, unable to preach in his own diocese, so much so that he had to go to the Pope to ask for special permission to make sure that he was doing the right thing of preaching against this heresy, and he got special permission to become a missionary in his own diocese. And this is what he would become known for, because he used a special tool, a special instrument in order to preach when he came back. He started to see the Blessed Virgin Mary as the instrument that would bring all people back to trust in Jesus' mercy. And he did so by remembering the woman in the book of Revelation. And in the book of Revelation, it says that there is this ancient serpent, this dragon that comes to the earth that wants to devour this woman and devour her offspring so that the world won't be saved. Basically, it was a depiction of Satan doing battle with the Blessed Virgin Mary, who was chosen as the instrument to bring Jesus Christ into the world. And he told us we should trust in Jesus because he came to humanity first. He came to humanity, and the way he did so was through this woman, the Blessed Virgin Mary, who is the one who would protect her child against all evil. And so often it's depicted that Mary, in our statues or in our art, she is standing on the head of the serpent as she holds her precious child. She's standing on the head of the serpent, keeping him at bay, not allowing him to even come close. And so he said, we need to use the Blessed Virgin Mary as an instrument. If we're afraid to approach Jesus, then let's take our mother's hands. Let's take the hand of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who we know that will guide us back to her Son. Well, interestingly, 100 years after de Montfort's death, 100 years, there was a book found that he wrote, and it was called The True Devotion. It was the True Devotion that was a consecration to Jesus through the hands of Mary. And basically the premise of it is that we renew our baptismal vows in the presence, in the hands of, and through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And the reason that we do that, well, our baptismal vows, they state exactly what Mary stood for. The first disciple, the one who first said yes to God the Father, and the one who was first consecrated to Jesus Christ, her Son. How do we renew our baptismal vows? Well, maybe you don't remember your baptism, but on your baptismal day, we renewed our baptismal vows and we made vows for you. And those vows said this: do you reject Satan and all of his works and all of his empty promises? And to all of those things, we said yes. And then we said, do you believe in God the Father, the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth? Do you believe in Jesus Christ, his Son? Do you believe in the Holy Spirit who comes to give new life, to inspire our lives? Do you believe in the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, heaven and earth together as a church, the forgiveness of sins, everlasting life? Do you believe in all of those things? And to that we said yes. Isn't that something that we should do every day? Shouldn't we renew our baptismal vows every day? Louis de Montfort says that would be our key to saying yes to Jesus every day. If we were to reject Satan and say yes to God, and when we're afraid, we take the hand of the Blessed Virgin Mary, because we know that she's going to bring us to him, and we consecrate ourselves every day to his mission, then we will be saints. Then there will be a story to be told about us. I ask that as today you think about the ways that maybe you're mocked for your faith. I ask you to stay strong. Don't be afraid. Recognize that as we consecrate ourselves in every single day to Jesus, his mission, to the renunciation of Satan and all of his works, all of his empty promises, that there will be a story told about us, a story about how we said yes and just never stopped.